Hi, everybody, and welcome. I'm Visible Lady of Faith, and this is...
Her sidekick, her
Hey,
husband.
he's back. Anyway, the title of our lesson, we're here to discuss a Sunday school lesson entitled The Believing Centurion for Sunday, July the 5th, 2026. And this lesson is taken from Matthew, the 9th chapter, verses 5 through 13. This lesson reminds us that showing God's grace and mercy to a people is more important than going through religious motions.
You're just going through the motion. In other words, to give you an example, I heard in a family reunion years, decades or so ago, well, I'm going to start going to church and pay my tithe and join the church. It's just things, it's wrong. What you need to understand, your behavior is what we're talking about. A true believer is going to have that behavior that I think we're going to talk about later on, is the fruits of the Spirit. They'll be patient, with endurance, self-control, and in other words, they're practicing what God has asked. So, in other words, it's not about going to the church and speaking in tongue and all that. Your behavior is where it counts, is when you're away from whatever church you're in.
Our behavior.
Yeah.
You said your behavior.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, all of us.
Yes, it's true. Because, my behavior, yes, is included. Yes, okay. Thank you for that. Yes. But what I'm saying is, our behavior, how we treat each other 24/7, that's what we're going to be judged by, with God.
Okay. And also empty words. We may say a lot of good sounding words, but our heart is in a whole different place.
Yeah. So, that's, it's a different place. But see, the thing is, some people get real upset because, if a believer makes a mistake, boy, people all want to jump all over it. But it's not empty, like you were saying. It's just that sometimes we as believers, we make mistakes. I'm going to say this time, we're human too.
Yeah. Just because we are believers, we're not
perfect. Yep. There you go.
It does not mean we're sinless. So anyway, the man in our lesson believed in Christ's healing power, fixing whatever was broken.
What is really interesting when you say that, fixing. People think everything needs to be fixed the way they think. It's not, and I'm not going to say to fix the way God's thinking, it is true, but sometimes God gives us something better or gives us what we need so we can live a quality life. And then, and plus on top of that, we put more weight in. Here lately, I've been seeing like prophets. Oh, I'm a prophet and I speak for God. No, you're a charlatan, and because you're trying to get people to do what you think they should be doing. And what's the interesting thing about it is, there's a lot of people that they can prey upon. You got to be very, very careful when you're looking at someone. They talk about, I can heal you. Oh, then they got to be from God. Oh, I got me an expensive jet, or I got a nice suit, and you don't need those things to validate if it's from God or not. What you should be looking at: can you trust them? Are they trustworthy? Are they kind? Do they have a hidden agenda that's going to hurt me?
Or somebody else.
Yep.
Okay, so no matter who we are or what we do, we still expect special blessings or blessings of provisions and healing.
You go to these revivals where people are laying hands on and they passing out, or, oh, I'm healed and what have you. But never really thought about it, because you look at the movie industry looked at it and they exposed some of that on the big screen. They have certain people that go in there and acting like they got healed and everything, because people will buy into that really quick. Always something. In other words, they want microwave answers. They want everything in a hurry. They want it their way, the way it should be. And it's so hard to get that through people's heads. God don't work like that. Love don't work like that. When it said God is love, love just don't work like that. Because only thing I can tell you is, I thought about getting out of this relationship with my wife about 7 years into it. And what I know right now, that would have been the biggest mistake of my life if I had done that. So it takes time to develop what you really want. And that's part of the fruit of the Spirit. We just don't have the endurance. And don't want to wait until, in other words, we don't want to wait till the cake is done in the oven. How long it take cakes to bake right?
About 45 minutes.
Yeah, and we want it in 10.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so also in this lesson, Jesus' authority and power was on display to forgive and heal and call attention to unbelievers or doubtful ones to follow him.
Mm-hmm.
So,
in this lesson,
did you
you know,
see what
yeah,
I was trying
in
to say
this
there?
lesson, well, see, in this
After-
lesson, you know, when he was speaking to the tax collectors and what have you, and we had that same old thing. What are you doing with those tax collectors? We don't like them. You know, well, why? You know, and just like today, equate that today. When you see me being a black man, when it comes out of the mouth, black man, oh, no. He's not right. He's ignorant. And it comes out of a white person's mouth, then it's valid. Now, I'm telling you a quick story. You heard this story before when I was working at Fluor.
Okay.
And this woman came up to me, and, you know, there was a few other black consultants, but I was one that I hired in, but I'm not going to tell you a long story, but this here's short part to keep it narrow. This woman came up to me, and she was, and the color of the skin is just the ignorance that we have as human beings. And not saying I'm right in this here, but this is just the story of my experience. This woman came and asked me for how to set up this Fortran. And COBOL Fortran. But anyway, she came up and asked me, and I gave her the answer to it. And she turned around and immediately said, you don't know what you're talking about, and she walked away. 2 weeks later, she decided to ask a white woman. And the white woman told her the same identical answer. But before she told her the answer, she says, I heard the conversation between you and Theo over there. And he told you right, and it's still 2 weeks you haven't solved the thing. He says, now, he told you what was right. Then how come you didn't do it? She went and did it and said, it works. Now, that's just where life is. You know, we as black folks, we have to be validated by somebody else that we're telling them the truth and the right thing. But that's been my life, and that's the way what it is. So my whole thing is this: if I give you the right directions how to get to heaven, and you say I'm not going to do it, then it's on you. You're the one that decided to do, because you decided because of the color of the skin. And just take that story. It doesn't have to be a racial thing. It could be, wealth, right? Mm-hmm. Well, you don't have enough money. As a matter of fact, we see it in our churches. I'm going to believe the pastor because he has doctorate in front of his name. I'm going to believe the pastor because he's white. I'm going to believe the pastor because this pastor, don't care what color, he drives an expensive car. If you're basing it off those things, you're going to go wrong. You need to dig deeper in what Jesus was trying to tell them. He wasn't worried about the children that was being saved and believed in. He was concerned about the ones that was ignorant, that did not understand. That's why he was with the tax collectors. So when he asked the question, why would I want to go to a doctor and I'm feeling good? Why do I want to do that? That make no sense. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. Have faith and believe Christ's mission to treat the least of us with respect, and that they have value as humans.
That is so important.
No matter their financial, physical, or mental circumstances, or what they look like.
Yeah, and just
physical.
Just flip to the extreme. Mm-hmm. We should be kind and have values, like you said, having value. Even if I ran into a billionaire, and let's just say he was a billionaire and I didn't know it, and really it shouldn't matter. If the person needs a coat, is cold or something like that, go and help them. And I'm not expecting anything from them. In other words, I'm saying is we should do it out of respect for God's creation and that human being, regardless of whatever. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people say, oh, well, I've seen these things. Well, since you did this here, and then they reward them with a lot of money. That's not the purpose of it. Your purpose is for your agenda is to help someone and not expecting anything in return. Okay,
so in our definition part of this discussion, the first word is centurion. A centurion was an officer in the Roman army. And the next word that we kind of discussed a little bit before is grace. Because I had showing kindness, but we want to like kind of elaborate more on that.
Drill a little deeper in it, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like extending kindness to someone that maybe they didn't earn it, but that sounds kind of judgmental, saying who deserves this and who doesn't deserve this. It's just like, as believers, we
shouldn't judge them at all.
Yeah, we shouldn't judge them just.
And regardless if we think they deserve it or
grace.
not, but
Yes.
still give them grace.
Yeah, give them grace anyway.
Out of kindness.
Yeah, because showing kindness toward everyone.
Yep.
Okay, and the next word is mercy.
Yeah.
Mercy is like showing concern for others.
Yes, showing mercy. And even I have a challenge within myself. I played sports, and, when you want to win a game, you ain't giving no slack, no mercy, and nothing to your opponent. You want to beat them, okay? But now, as I understand the Word of God, I have found myself, even though I put it this way, showing mercy to our leaders of this country. People say I'm using that example because they say, why would you want to do that? Because you never know. Planting a seed of kindness, it may be at the right time. It may hit a fertile part of their life, and they may decide to turn around. So why, you see the house is burning, so why keep throwing fire on it? It's not going to help. So why not try throwing at least a cup of water or some kind of kindness? Something may change. Who knows? Mm-hmm. That's all I'm saying. And that's the mercy and the grace. Those words play in that and what I tried to describe there.
What does it look like to follow Christ? So I believe follow Christ means to be influenced and inspired by his life to live for God in service to others.
Yeah, I think, following what that look like to me is I call it a practicing Christian. Practicing doing the right thing. Regardless of whatever, you want to plant good seeds.
Right. And those seeds we don't always see the growth of those seeds.
Yep.
But we just have to do our part,
Just like
plant the seeds.
Just like that scripture is, it is disappointing when the seeds fall on concrete or hard ground and they don't do anything. That's very disappointing to see that.
But we're not with that person 24/7, so we don't know what they're doing.
No, but
and also we talked about mercy.
No. I'm saying the examples from the. I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying is when you plant seeds, some may fall on stony ground, some may fall on not so hard, some may fall on really fertile ground. You never know.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, when you throw it out there, just like if you're thinking about Jack and the Beanstalk, it's going to pop up the next day. These seeds, we don't know how long it's going to take and how they're going to take, or if they're going to come or go, or maybe you put a fail out. You would like to see 100% of it, but only maybe 50% may come up, and that's it.
But I also want to say that we don't have it all together ourselves, so we're looking for somebody else to show something, some grace or some mercy or whatever. But we just have to, not be judgmental and to just do our part. Like you said, we planted the seed, and that's all we can do, And planting that seed is being kind, showing grace, being considerate, respecting the person.
What do you call it?
That's our part.
Some people get overprotective.
Being friendly.
They insert themselves in people's lives that they shouldn't be. They don't have the right to insert themselves in people's lives. They can just plant the seeds and then turn it over to God to allow it to grow. So I'm trying to figure out how would you state that we just do our part and let God and that person do their part.
I think that each person's relationship with God is individual. We're not with that person 24/7. All we can, like I said earlier, make sure that we're doing the right thing. We're treating them with respect. We have concern for their well-being, and if there's something we can do to help, we do that.
Yep.
And the rest is not on us. Does it make sense?
It makes sense, but I'm just trying to find the best way I can communicate that. But I understand what you're saying because I've been around you 50 years. I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
But we're trying to talk to
Share our
trying to
perspectives
share.
with
Yeah,
y'all.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like that. Just imagine what a farmer does when he plants the seeds. He's not sitting out there, digging the seed up and cursing it out and beating up on it, talking about how come you haven't shown
But
any
he does take
progress.
care of that seed.
No,
He waters it.
you take care of the grounds
The
around it,
ground, yeah,
protect it,
right.
and
You get
just
the ground
do
ready.
what you can do.
Yeah,
But you can't make the seed grow.
right.
That's something between God and that individual
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah. Some years you might have a good harvest, and some years you
You may have some bad ones,
have some bad ones.
or so and what
yeah,
have you.
yeah.
But just
But
thank
the thing
God
about
for
it, they don't quit. You keep going.
Yep.
Don't give up. Just
Yep.
keep going.
Yep.
Okay, so we also, in our daily lives, we need to study the inspired word, which is the Bible. And we need to trust in God. And we
I want to say we should not just see people keep putting to me. This is to me, put hands and feet on God. No, we should trust the process, the gospel that He allowed us. And we need to sit and dig in it, just like the life application we're talking about. How do we put it in our lives to make our lives better?
in other words, how do we apply the word to our everyday lives today?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
like for
what
instance,
does it look like?
if you've been stealing a lot, you keep getting into trouble, then you should stop stealing. If you're lying a lot, keeping yourself in trouble, you should stop doing that. If you're an alcoholic and it's not getting you anywhere, and it's just you need to get some help so you can get better.
Right, yeah.
All these things.
That just reminded me of the Sunday school lesson this morning when we were discussing about some things that people do. Well, I guess, okay, let me say this. Some things that people do, we don't know the reason why they're doing it. Say,
Yeah.
for instance, a person is an alcoholic. We don't know if something traumatic happened in their lives to cause them to have that kind of behavior. So that's why I think I'm for people having therapy, because there's something deep down in there that's hurting, and maybe if we get to the bottom of why that hurt is there or what happened, we can release some of that hurt, and they can release some of those addictions or bad habits or whatever, and to move on with their life. Does that make sense?
That applies to some, but some,
Yeah.
it's something a little different.
Yeah, everybody's different. Yeah,
It's a little different, but see what it is, even though we're saying it's a little different, but we should take the time to try to get to know and try to understand why they're there.
Right.
And leave our judgmental attitude out of the
right,
equation.
right.
And if it's something that you have no idea what to do about it, then you need to go to God and pray, okay, what can I do to help? And whatever it is, so just don't be a hindrance, but be helpful to them.
Yeah.
Constructive wisdom or something. Something that's
Be
going to
a
help them.
friend.
Yeah.
Have a conversation.
If that's what God calls you and you have the talent for that, then yes.
Yes.
That's why we should get up and pray and say, okay, where is my job? Because I can't be everything to everybody.
Right.
Because I may have to go find, like you say, a therapist to help me.
Right. We don't have all the answers, and the therapy.
I don't try to do all the things.
People that are trained to help people in
Yeah.
crises, can offer some help. Okay, so then you mentioned something about the fruits of the Spirit. We should develop love and joy and peace and patience and kindness and self-control.
Self-control should be number one on your list. Self-control.
Yeah, self-control, because self-control can lead to
Unhappiness.
unhappiness and be snapping at somebody, or
Causing more damage.
cursing someone
it's
out,
like
or
a bull in a china shop just tearing up
you
everything.
just snap at somebody, just like at the drop of a hat, over.
Then you're going to get
whatever.
mad. Then you got to get mad trying to put it all back together. And then you're going to say, I wish I hadn't done that. Because, we learned that early off in our life. Because when you start throwing, can you imagine the wife throwing a rolling pin at me and plates and stuff like that? And then when she breaks them all, then we got to go out and buy some new ones. So it's always going to be, there's consequences for everything. But she didn't do any rolling pins and nothing like that. She didn't do anything about it. Just an example.
You sure I didn't do that? Our possessions, our money, our status, comfort, and we should show compassion for the sick, the marginalized, and etc. So we should connect ourselves with and the Word and what we can learn from the Word with our real life situations.
Yep, because one thing that's definitely permanent that you're going to have to do when you leave this world. It ain't nothing you can control. The world goes on. So my wishes, I can tell my family if I'm gone here, but I'm going to tell them my wishes, but it's still up to them if they decide to do it. And And most of the time I say they would do it because if I showed them the love, the compassion, and respect, I believe they're going to do it. And you think you got the wealth has power. No, it doesn't.
Okay, so that will bring our discussion to a close.
Okie-dokie.
And I hope we said something that will provoke thought. And thanks for watching, and we hope you like, subscribe, and share this video. Hi, friends and everybody.
Yeah,
okay.
And I will have to say, yes, we're going to be celebrating, and sorry that I haven't been around a while, but what can I say? Once the storm and everything settles, I'll be back doing what I'm doing and trying to do a better job.
Okay. See you later.